Hey there, friends. So we are learning how to train our mindset to empower and inspire us. And what we need to do is we need to realize how our mind, our thinking mind, and our ego perceives our reality as well as ourselves and our life surrounding us, all the different events and facets of our existence. So what happens is that we're able to break down our perception into three categories: past, present, and future. So you're ready to train your mindset and realize a mind that empowers and inspires you, that's free from having all these toxic and negative thoughts, self-sabotaging, making you feel stupid and not good enough and telling you that you'll never accomplish stuff, keeping you in the past and having that shame, that regret, that remorse, that blame, and giving you a ton of anxiety for the future and stress and worry about how things are going to work out, and also a mind that will help you and free you of experiencing anger and frustration and impatience that's tethered to just your daily normal life. You're going to establish a peaceful mindset, and within that peace, you'll know your present reality and you'll just feel chill. You'll feel fulfilled. It'll feel nice and beautiful, like a nice little lazy river, instead of all this just pressure and stress and emotion that is just piling down on top of you. We're going to train you to train your mind to free yourself. Everybody's trying to change their life, transform your life. You don't need to do that. That is so hard. It doesn't even make sense half the time. Where do you start? Where do you end? Where are you going to get the finances and the time to do all this? You don't have to worry about that anymore. Instead, you're going to transform and change your perspective of life, which is then going to take it from seeing it all in that cluster of craziness, that black and white, and we're going to take it into a place of radiance where you're going to see it in color, vibrant, beautiful, radiant color. But it's hard to know where to start with our perspective because we perceive so much. We perceive a bunch of stuff tethered to our past. We're really anxious about the future. We're upset with how things are in our current present. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to separate our perspective into past, present, and future perspectives. With that separation, it gets easier to kind of conquer each individual focal point and then move on to the next one. Before I forget, my name is JhN, and I'm a mindset and spiritual mentor or coach. I teach people how to elevate their mindsets and free themselves to know a life or just a feeling of abundance and peace and prosperity. If you want more information on how to extremely transform your perspective and your mind, just check out my website. I have a bunch of info there. And I'm also an author, so be sure to check out my debut novel, Dreams of Antiquity: The Awakening, an epic, beautiful, adventurous, soulful story about love and loss and the adventure of a spiritual journey. So back to perspective, what we're going to do is we're going to take on the one that is the easiest to conquer first. We want to go after the future perspective or the future reality, because that one's easier because it hasn't happened yet. With our past, that is filled with a bunch of trauma and experiences that we have a particular perspective on, and we have to kind of manipulate that perspective and elevate it and free ourselves. It's really challenging, especially if we've gone through some crap, you know what I mean? And with the present moment, that's happening live in the now. So if something is happening that's really upsetting us, we have to train our mind in that moment to free ourselves of that emotion and latch on to peace. Again, very challenging, but with the future, that has yet to unfold, and yet our mind is taking us there, and it's projecting a negative future or a toxic one, and we don't need to do that. So we're going to retrain our mind that it's not allowed to do that anymore, and these are the steps on how to do exactly that. You ever go to cross the street and hear a siren, and you don't know where it's coming from, and you just pause? You may be on your phone looking at something, browsing through social media, and you go, whoa, I can't cross the street yet because a cop car or an ambulance may just take the corner and take me out because I'm not paying attention. That is what we're going to do, is that we're going to notate the siren of negative emotion. Each perspective, past, present, future, has certain emotions that are tethered to it that are the most common for us to experience when our perspective or our mind is focusing on one of the relative perspectives. With the future perspective, we're going to suffer or experience a spike or a flood of emotion through experiencing anxiety, worry, panic, stress, or angst. So you're gonna get a pen and a paper or take some notes on your phone or whatever you're gonna do here, but you have to write this stuff down because you're going to plug and play these steps as soon as you notice that you are experiencing one of those emotions. So you're sitting there, you're on your couch, it's Friday night, and you're thinking about something that is important to you, something that you wanna do in the future. And all of a sudden you get this little spike of anxiety and it says, what if you're not gonna be any good about it? What if it turns out horribly? What if people make fun of you? What if that person doesn't show up? What if that thing doesn't line up for you? And all of these little questions start kind of tumbling through your mind and your beingness, and you experience worry and panic and anxiety and even stress and that little spike of angst in the center of your chest. Observation. We are going to simply observe ourselves experiencing said emotion. It's almost like you're removed from the experience altogether, like your soul flies out of your body and you just watch yourself kind of worrying and getting all stressed out on the couch. Your mind is going to perceive all of those thoughts that are associated with the anxiety and the stress of that future event, and just watch yourself thinking. That's step one. Step two is reward. Like if I'm trying to train a dog that it's not allowed to jump on the couch, I'm going to take it off the couch and then reward it when it sits on the floor. Positive reinforcement and encouragement. We're going to do the same thing for our mind because we are reprogramming our mind here. So what you're going to do is after step one, observance, you're literally going to reward yourself by saying something like this. Good job, Joe. I see that you've been triggered and you're feeling anxious. That's okay. I'm grateful for this opportunity to center in on peace and presence. What we're doing is throwing a little wrench in the gears of anxiety with the mind kind of tumbling down that hill with all the bad thoughts. And we're saying, nope, we're gonna stop that forward momentum of negativity and we're gonna center in on the now. And we're going to reward ourselves for doing exactly that, which then leads into step three, which is center. Our liberation resides within presence, within our senses and our mind, our focus, our concentration being latched on to the immediate moment that is unraveling within the now. So if we take ourselves to that, then we can't consider the future. We're definitely not looking at the past, and we're not really upset with anything that's going on because we're just here and we're breathing and we're taking in everything. So we're going to do that through these few steps here. You're going to ask yourself, what are 10 things that I am seeing? Literally notate 10 things in that immediate environment that you are seeing. What are 3 things that are making physical contact with me or that I am touching? What are 2 things that I hear? If you hear the murmur outside of the room or the modem of the computer router, whatever it is. And what is 1 thing that you smell? And while you are taking an analysis of your immediate environment, 10 deep breaths as you're training your mind in the first beginning stages of this, breathing with your diaphragm only through your nostrils. Want you to elevate your posture. Put your shoulders back, your chest out, your chin up. Pick 1 point across the room and stare at it while trying not to blink. Basically, we are bombarding our mind with task. Gather all of this information. We are coming to attention. We are taking all this data inwards, like we have to memorize this immediate moment. Our mind only has a certain amount of bandwidth, and with us processing all this stuff going on, it doesn't have that additional currency or capacity to take in all that anxiety and the thoughts that were triggering the stress and the worry and everything. So we're taking it and we're saying, don't look over there, come over here and stay in the present moment. So what we were experiencing is anxiety, stress, and worry, which is kind of a negative emotion. So we need to lift ourselves up and take ourselves to at least a neutral space or state of being, and if we can, to a positive one. Because sometimes if we just come to the neutrality and we were experiencing negativity, if we put those 2 on scales, the neutral space doesn't have enough gravity to take us out of that negative space. So if we put something really positive with a lot of weight here, then we could tip the scales in our favor and we can elevate ourselves into that positive or neutral space. And this is how we're gonna do exactly that. Step 4 here, after we centered, is to detect. You're literally going to ask yourself, what is troubling me? What is making me upset? Well, right now, it's the anxiety. I was thinking about that future thing, it's important, and I just had all these thoughts that were triggering, that were bringing me down and then getting me all kind of worked up and building the stress within myself. So good. Now we know that that is tethered to the future and that we are in the right steps, because in the later videos, I'm going to give you the steps for past and present, but for future, they're different steps. So now within step 4, we are detecting. So we know it's anxiety, and now we have to state our vow, our determination. So before moving forward ever again in this space, we have to make this testament and this creed and establish a law to ourselves that we will never ever again project a future of negativity. We will only allow ourselves to project a future of positivity or neutrality. Projecting a negative future does absolutely nothing for us. Actually, it is harmful to both our reality and our ego, our mindset and psyche. We don't need to do that. It has yet to exist and unravel, and we don't need to think that it's going to be bad. We only think it's going to be good. For right now, training the mind, this is a healthy way until you get a really masterful grasp on the other stages and the other perspectives. That's what we're going to incorporate. So instead, what you're going to do, step 5 now that we know that we've detected its anxiety, we're jumping in to step 5, which is now projecting a positive future. So whatever thing that you were considering that was stirring up the anxiety and giving you that spike of stress and angst, I want you to ask yourself, what is the best possible way for that event or situation or experience to turn out? The absolute best possible. And I want you to imagine that. You're going to take a deep breath, close your eyes, and visualize yourself experiencing that turnout while feeling extremely confident and extremely grateful for how well this occasion turned out in your favor. And pick out a few different scenes. So say if it's a job interview, I'm gonna see myself walking into that office feeling supremely confident, or entering the Zoom call dressed nice, feeling awesome and confident, knowing that I got this. I'm going to visualize myself receiving the offer. I'm gonna also visualize a scene where I start my first day on the job. I'm going to wanna project only success and prosperity and positivity, and I wanna feel that flood of emotion wash over me as I enjoy that beautiful visualization. We're doing two things here. We are centering ourselves in on presence and then taking this nice, beautiful fantasy here, and we're just cuddling it. It just makes us feel so much better than the anxiety did, but we're also doing something that is to our extreme benefit, because we're allowing these visualizations, these thoughts, these feelings, and these beliefs to seep into our subconsciousness, which is very, very powerful at attracting that actual event into reality through the power of visualization using the law of attraction and manifestation. So what we're doing here is doubly fold for our benefit. We're anchoring in our presence, we're making ourselves feel good, allowing ourselves to feel this gratitude and confidence through this visualization, and we're also doing some great stuff to attract that reality into the now. Step 6 here is we're elevating our frequency and our vibration a little bit more into positivity, and ask yourself, what are 3 things I'm grateful for right now? Because yes, we kind of broadcasted some possible or positive gratitude in the future, but you have stuff that's going on for you right now that you weren't looking at, and we're looking at the future, and we need to center our perspective back in on the now and ask yourself, what are 3 things I'm grateful for? And they may be tethered to that future event. Well, you know what? I've got the degree, I have a lot of experience, and I work really hard. And if you don't have any of that stuff, you could be like, well, I have arms and legs. I have water running out of my tap. It doesn't have to be anything extreme, but think of 3 things that you truly feel that embodiment of appreciation for, and allow yourself to feel that. You want to basically banish out that negative emotion by experiencing a flood of positive emotion. Step 7 here, simple affirmation. I do not project a future of negativity. I only project a positive outcome, and I'm grateful for finding this presence. Those are the steps. Plug and play. Your mind may be pretty strong and try to tether you and pull you back right into that anxious or stressful state of being. Rinse and repeat those steps. It will take some time, but you're going to build some momentum and you're going to start making a lot of progress, allowing yourself to say, you know what? We don't think that way anyway. Be sure to write those steps down in your phone or on a little note card and pull them out when you start feeling that anxiety or stress or worry, because basically just pulling your phone out is a disruption in the anxiety. And then when you go through the steps, we're working to relieve yourself of it and train your mind. It's not allowed to do that anymore. And if it tries to pull you back in the anxiety after you've walked through the steps, just rinse and repeat. It's going to take a little bit of time. Like anything that we start doing, we got to get used to it a little bit, but you're going to notice a big shift in that you do not project a future of negativity. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see part 2. Hit the notifications. We're going to be breaking down the past reality. Thank you guys. Wishing you well, and I'm grateful for you.